So let's talk about Hapi Metaverse. It's a company with a name that absolutely promises the future, but its finances tell a much different story, a story of survival. It's trying to make its way through what a lot of people are calling the metaverse winter, and we're going to break down its strategy by looking at the one thing that never lies, the numbers.
And right off the bat, you get this pretty brutal assessment from an HDIN Research analyst, calling it a shell company in concept packaging. That really sets the stage for our whole investigation. It's a bold claim that basically says the company's grand vision might just be a cover for something much, much weaker.
And this is a big part of the reason why. By the end of 2025, the company had piled up an accumulated deficit of over $21 million. Now, a number that big isn't just a line item on a spreadsheet. It's the financial anchor that gives that analyst's quote some serious weight, grounding it in a very tough reality.
And listen, this isn't just an analyst's opinion. The company's own independent auditors have officially sounded the alarm. When an auditor uses phrases like substantial doubt about being a going concern, that's one of the most serious warnings they can give. To put that in plain English, it means they're not even sure the company has what it takes to stay in business for another year.
So this leads us right to the heart of the disconnect. Let's really unpack where the company's money comes from so we can see how much of a metaverse company it actually is.
Okay, and this is where the story gets really, really interesting. For a company called Meta, right, you'd think the money's coming from software or digital stuff or tech services. But nope, almost 100% of its income is from a very traditional business, food and beverage.
The actual dollar figures make it even more stark. The food and beverage side brought in over $250,000. The entire e-commerce and IT segment, $172. No, that is not a typo. The tech part of this business is, financially speaking, basically a rounding error. It's practically non-existent.
So you're probably asking, how does a US metaverse company make all its money from food? Well, this corporate structure explains it. You see, Hapi Metaverse Inc. is just the holding company at the very top. The actual businesses earning the cash are buried several layers deep in this really complex web, and they're mostly in Asia.
And here's exactly where that money is made. The company's own filings make it clear. Their main catering and cafe businesses are in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and mainland China. So we're not talking about a global tech platform here. It's a traditional services business, all concentrated in one specific part of the world.
All right, so you've got these huge losses and basically zero tech revenue. The natural question is, how is this company even still operating? Well, the answer isn't inside Hapi Metaverse. It's with its parent company. And this is the whole key to its survival. A single company, its parent Audit Inc., owns over 99% of Hapi Metaverse. Look, that's not just a majority stake. That is near total control. And that gives Audit both the reason and the power to keep this whole thing afloat.
So you've really got two different realities here. On one hand, the actual operations are just burning through cash, almost $1 million in 2025 alone. But on the other hand, it has this financial lifeline, a constant stream of cash and debt forgiveness from its parent, Audit. The key thing to understand is Hapi Metaverse isn't self-sustaining. It's being subsidized.
And here's what that subsidy looks like on the balance sheet. So, before a major transaction, the company owed over $9 million in related party liabilities. That's just a fancy way of saying debt owed to its parent company, Audit. And that debt created this huge stockholders' deficit of almost $7 million.
But then they made a really clever accounting move. Audit just forgave that $9 million debt. It wasn't paid back. It was just converted into something called additional paid-in capital. So, poof, the debt just disappears from the liability column and reappears as equity. On paper, this makes the balance sheet look way, way healthier. But, and this is critical, it didn't generate a single dollar of actual cash from the business.
And that's the big problem the company says it's going to solve with its next big move, a bold pivot into technology to finally start living up to that metaverse name.
So the official game plan is this four-step pivot. They want to digitize retail, bring AI and robotics into their current businesses, build a new B2B software ecosystem, the whole 9 yards. On paper, it's a total reinvention from a regional food business into a global tech company. The keywords there, of course, are on paper.
Because here's the catch, and this quote is pulled directly from the company's own financial filings. Right next to their ambitious four-step plan, they give this brutally honest warning. There are no sales targets, no profit goals, no KPIs. It's a vision with no roadmap. And for any analyst, that's a massive red flag.
Now, beyond the strategy and the balance sheet, there are other signals in corporate filings that analysts always watch very closely. These are the more subtle things that can sometimes tell you more than the big headlines.
A big one is a change in auditor. You can see here that in mid-2025, Hapi Metaverse switched firms. Now look, there can be plenty of perfectly normal reasons for this, but it's an event that always makes an analyst pause and ask why. Because sometimes it can be a sign of a disagreement over accounting or risks.
And that's not the only flag. The company openly admits to a material weakness in its internal financial controls. That's basically auditor speak for, our process for reporting numbers accurately has serious problems. They don't even list R&D as a separate expense, so you can't see how much they're actually investing in this supposed tech pivot. You add that to the lack of guidance and its penny stock status, and you've got a whole list of pretty significant risk factors.
So what does this all mean for Hapi Metaverse as it moves into 2026? What's the path forward?
The bottom line is this: the company is walking a financial tightrope. Its entire future is riding on pulling off this massive, incredibly high-risk transformation from traditional food service to high-tech AI. And it's trying to do this from a position of financial weakness, with no proven tech revenue model, all while being completely dependent on its parent company to pay the bills.
And that really leaves us with the one big unanswered question. You know, it's easy to put a vision on a slide. It's a whole different ballgame to actually build a profitable business. Can Hapi Metaverse take this ambitious 2026 pivot from just a cool concept and turn it into a financial reality? Without a clear, measurable plan, that is the fundamental uncertainty.
This deep dive was based on an analysis of Hapi Metaverse's public filings by HDIN Research. Thank you for joining us.